Eagles Nation, game day eve is upon us. I'm dropping Bird Buzz one day early. The Eagles play tomorrow night, Thursday Night Football. Can't get any better than two 4-1 teams, two good quarterbacks going against each other. It should be a really fun game. Like I said, 4-1. You don't really always get these great matchups on Thursday, but they're always unpredictable. They're always crazy, and two 4-1 teams in the NFC, man. I mean, playoff implications early, a little early to say, but nonetheless, I'm going to say it, because they're two 4-1 teams. So, the Eagles really have a chance here to make a statement and get this win, and we'll see what happens. But like I said, I think it's going to be pretty unpredictable. It's going to be, it's just going to be a lot of ups and downs, and we're going to have to see whichever team makes the least mistakes, is gonna be in the position to win the game. It's one of those games where that Thursday night, sometimes teams come out a little sloppier because they have less time to prepare, a little bit unpredictable because of that, maybe mentally, physically worn down because of the game a few days ago. So there's a lot of different factors for both teams that they have to weather the storm, and whichever team can come out on top, deserves it for no doubt about it, for just toughing it out. So. Rolling into the questions, as it is Bird Buzz, like I said, dropping it just a day early because, game day is game day. No one should be focused on anything else. So, first question is, at Walkasaka Flames asks, how sweet are Wentz's feet? And I definitely think you got to say they're some of the sweetest in the league. He's able to move inside the pocket, outside the pocket. I mean, his feet are impeccable right now, and you're seeing all that hard work in the offseason to get those feet that sweet. So it's kind of a blessing to have a quarterback that's willing to work on his feet that much and make sure they're sweet. So it's a good, really, really good situation to be in with Carson Wentz working that hard on that in the offseason and seeing it pay off. 808 Eagles asks, what do you think is the main reason for Alshon not having any big games, big numbers through 5 games? And I think that a lot of people are, focusing on that as kind of a negative, but, obviously you want to see your number one receiver produce, but when you have Wentz hitting 8 different targets, you don't need one specific guy to carry the load. And we put up 34 points against Arizona. We put up 26 against the Chargers the week before, 27 against the Giants in that win. And then, the Chiefs was really the only game that the offense wasn't so good. And it was also Alshon's best game. Yes, he came, had his numbers and things like that. And then we put up 30 against the Redskins. So putting up 25 to 30 points in every game, it speaks for itself. Whether or not Alshon's catching balls, he's still making an impact, and other guys are getting freed up to catch passes, and it's not just one guy. So you'll see Alshon's game eventually. It'll happen, but I don't think there's really much to make of it right now. As far as, the impact on the offense, you're seeing Alshon's not balling out, and you're still putting up 34. I mean, you can't complain, and that's an Arizona defense that's no slouch. They have some elite players in their secondary, and they've kind of owned us over the past couple of years with Bruce Arians, and we kind of turned that page, and Larry Fitz obviously always owns us, but nonetheless, I think that even though your best receiver in Alshon Jeffrey isn't producing and you're still putting up 34 points in a game, I think that speaks volumes about just the growth of the whole team. So it's a good question, but we'll see his games, but that's kind of the reason. Just it's a dangerous offense. There's a lot of guys. It's Miles asks, are your expectations different for the season now that the team is 4-1? I don't think that my expectations have changed. I think I've said that this team's a playoff team. They have the ability to go to the playoffs. And once they get there, that's when you start kind of determining how far they can go, because a lot of different factors go into that in itself. It's like its own season. But for the regular season, my expectations are that this team can make the playoffs. Whether it's wild card, win the division, it's just make the playoffs, and I haven't changed that. So maybe, people are now thinking, oh, this team could go to the Super Bowl and things like that, and that's fine. Have your confidence, whatever you think. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I'm not saying they can't. I'm not saying they can. I'm just saying that they can make the playoffs and give themselves a chance. And from that point, I'll then see from game to game, if I think that the team that they're playing, that they can beat them. So we'll see what happens the rest of the season. I mean, still a long season left, starting with a big game against the Carolina Panthers. So, game by game, week by week, I think the team has the potential to make the playoffs. So let's just see that first, and then I'll move forward with that. But no, my expectations haven't changed. But that's a really good question, because I think a lot of people are very high on this team now that maybe weren't so much before. Smithboy93 asks, what is it going to take to beat a red-hot Panthers team? I just think be the red-hot Eagles team that you've been. It seems we're just as hot. We're able to – it's great to see our strengths being reasons we're winning games rather than our weaknesses being reasons that we're losing. I think that there's question marks, on the team, and they're not perfect, but I think that as we've seen this season wear on, we can execute on special teams, defense, offense, and any of those three phases can be a reason we win a game. So just continue to do what you do best and be that red-hot Eagles team that's won their past 3 games. And I think sky's the limit, honestly, against any team. So we'll see what happens there, but, it's a good question. And then Smithboy93 also asks, what strengths do we have that the Panthers are weak at? And I just talked about it. Our multitude of weaponry that Carson Wentz has to get the ball out to. I think that will bode well against a secondary that's banged up right now. The Carolina Panthers are missing their two starting cornerbacks. They missed them from practice, so chances that both of them are playing are probably unlikely. And even if they do play or one of them plays, still missing practices, being banged up on a short week is not a good situation. So I think attacking them with our weapons outside, inside, Zach Ertz, the running backs coming out of the backfield, and running the ball early on the down, early in series, early in the down count, first, second down runs, making those third downs shorter. The Eagles have the best quarterback in the league right now on third downs, and there will be plenty to convert tomorrow, but let's try to make them, easier third down. So I think those are the spots you can really hit them at, and if you can do that and execute and then play sound on defense, I think you'll see a result that's positive. So we'll have to see if they can do that. It's easier said than done, though. Nance Ricardo asks, how far could we get in the playoffs? And that's something I talked about that. It just depends on seeding, how you're playing at the end of the year, if you even make the playoffs. I mean, 4-1 doesn't get you in. You got to keep winning. So they have to see, what they can do in the regular season before you see the playoffs. So that's kind of my answer on that, and we'll see going forward. But good question. A lot of people are expecting them to go deep in the playoffs, so we'll see. Nance Ricardo also asks, is Cox going to play? That's a good question. He practiced on Tuesday. I believe that they'll hold him out. I think that it's good to see him getting healthier and he's able to practice, but I don't think that they're going to play him. I think they're going to have the mentality of, okay, we'll get him at, no doubt about it, 100% or as close as possible, even closer, against Washington Monday night. And I think that game, as far as looking at these next 2 games, if you were to say, okay, which one would you rather win if you could only win one, it's obviously the Washington game because they're in your division. You're at home on Monday night. So I think out of these next 2 games, I think forcing Cox back as if there's not plenty of time to, get him back into the lineup I think that would be a little foolish because if he gets hurt again and we lose him for more time, that's not going to be too good. So it's good to see him practice, but I'm not so sure that he plays. We'll have to see. But I don't know. It's right now I would say no. I don't think he's going to play. And then JBrad13 asks, how does Skip Bayless have a job? Yeah, that's probably in reference to him saying Carson Wentz looks like a deer in the headlights. I don't really know where he got that from. It's just more Skip Bayless journalism. The whole pick guys that you like, pick teams that you like, and pick guys that you don't like, and teams that you don't like, and kind of go, back and forth on, oh, this guy's better than this guy. No matter what's happening, just continue to ride your own narratives and make things up to support them. And it's not, obviously it's not the best kind of journalism, but that's it. Guys like him, like that Cian Fahey or whatever his name is, from Ireland, who is some quarterback expert all of a sudden. A couple other guys on draft expert Twitter, on even on ESPN, draft analysts, comparing Carson Wentz to Blake Bortles, saying he looks like a deer in the headlights. This is just asinine, and obviously when you have so many people that just randomly develop such like a hatred for Carson Wentz for some reason, that means he's obviously doing something right. No one, people laugh at Blake Bortles. People have rage and just have to defend, anything they can to discredit Wentz. So it's like there's a difference between, the two of them. There's a difference between a quarterback that truly is bad and one that's looking good that people want to be bad. So I think, at the end of the day, we could split hairs and say, get all analytical about it. But at the end of the day, Carson Wentz, he's playing lights out right now. I mean, he's playing lights out. He's moving the ball. We're scoring points. There's really nothing anyone can say but, oh, well, last year this and last year that. And it's like, well, quarterbacks get better. And they have, when they get better weapons, it happens. So, there's not really much else to say. I mean, they're going to wait around for him to have a bad game and, harp on him for it. But get in the playoffs, shut everyone up. I mean, I'm not really too worried about it. So, I mean, yeah, I guess that's really all I got to say on this Wednesday, as the Eagles like to call it. And I'm sure everyone in Philly's calling it that today because this guy's playing really well right now and big game tomorrow. So, yeah, I guess I'm signing off. Fly, Eagles, fly, all that great stuff. And it's, little early game. We'll be chilling on Sunday, thinking about the next game and while the other teams are playing because, we got our business tomorrow. So, little business trip, little road game, Thursday night, short week. Two banged up teams with a lot of injuries, but a lot of good things about it. A lot of good players playing, some good quarterbacks, some good wide receivers and weapons on both sides, and as well as some good defensive players on both sides still. So, I mean, what else is there to say? It's time to take care of business, and hopefully we can do that. So, quest for 5-1 starts tomorrow and starts at kickoff, and it's really all I got to say. So, fly, Eagles, fly, baby. Let's go. Let's get this win. I'll see you guys after the game. Thanks for tuning in again. Best fan base in the world, baby. Let's go.